this morning a startling image out of San Francisco where a wheel came flying off a United Airlines flight as it was just taking off. Now we're hearing new audio that captures the moment that the pilot realized things had gone wrong.
The last departure lost the wheel on departure, so we're going to have to shut the runway down. Do you guys know where that tire was? No, so it's probably going to be a few minutes for you guys.
Yikes. Air traffic controllers immediately stopped traffic on the runway. And by the way, here's where that wheel ended up landing, inside an airport employee parking lot. Luckily, no one hurt, but there were cars that were smashed up. But look at this, it did quite a bit of damage. There you're seeing one of that, I think that's a Toyota Corolla right there, just smashed. Joining us now is CNN safety analyst and former FAA safety inspector, David Susi. All right, everyone wants to answer this. How does something like this happen? Is this a maintenance issue? Did someone forget to crank down on the nuts and bolts? Like, what happened?
Well, it's certainly extraordinary, Sarah. What I thought when I first heard this is that maybe a tire blew out, there was something on the runway, but that's not the case here. This is the rear of 6 tires. This landing gear truck, which is on the left side, carries 6 tires on it, 6 wheels and tires. And when I first thought it was a tire that occasionally you'll have something on the runway, that sort of thing, but extraordinary because the co-pilot before every flight goes down and inspects these trucks. They look at all the tires, they make sure everything's fine, everything's secured properly, it has safety wire, it has everything it has. So this was a catastrophic failure of some kind in that axle. There's 3 axles and one of those fell off or one of those broke or something because that entire wheel came with it.
How difficult is the landing when you've got one of these tires? Obviously, this is a huge plane with lots of tires and the landing gear. But how does it affect your landing?
Well, in this case, it wouldn't have much at all because of the fact that there's triple redundancy. So in other words, you've got 3 sets of tires where you really only could land on 2. It's certified to land on just 2 of those 6 tires on one side. So it is safe. It was safely landed, and there probably wouldn't have even noticed much of a difference, except possibly the braking action would have been different. When you brake the aircraft, it might veer to one side or the other because there's more traction on the runway. But as far as the landing, we're really fortunate more people on the ground weren't hurt from this because when those tires come off, those are heavy tires, as heavy as a car.
Yeah, we're just talking about it. I had no idea how heavy those tires were. I do want to shift focus now because today is a very difficult day for tons of people who had members on the flight MH370. It is perhaps, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the biggest aviation mysteries ever in history. Where are we now with this flight? What happened? What do we know now, 10 years later? Anything new?
Yeah, certainly the tragedy for the families is just re-upping in their minds and hearts at this point, as well as ours. But yeah, at this point, there are some things on the horizon. They're actually talking about reinstituting it. Ocean Infinity has found a new technology, a new method that they haven't even shared with me. It's very secret. And what they're saying is that we're going to go start looking, and they made a proposal to the Malaysian government to do so, and it looks like it's being well received. So it's possible they may start that search again. In addition, there's some other news on the parts that were found. That flap, the flap Iran on the right side of the aircraft was found, washed up on Reunion Island, and they're looking at the crustaceans and the things that made homes on that piece as it came in. And from that, we have some real sophisticated science looking at where that might have gone. And it could trace us back to a particular part of the ocean, exactly where that thing first started and where it picked up these crustaceans. So there is hope that will be found, and I think that that's going to happen.
You think it's going to take absolutely new technology, as you just mentioned, that they're trying to use to do this? This is one of the deepest parts of the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, the technology is the key, and they do feel confident. They're making $100 million bet that they can use this technology to find it now.
All right, David Susi, thank you so much for bringing us that. I was there in Malaysia right after this happened, and I still have questions. It is the biggest mystery I can think of in my mind. Where did this whole plane go?
10 years. 10 years after,
why?
still very few answers. All right, President